According to Lewis, a British writer, literature adds to reality. It does not simply describe it. This means that not only does it reflect the cultures, traditions, and other realities, but it also gives us a better understanding of the history of our country.
Hey listeners, this is your speaker Cherryman, together with my peers Matt and Michaela.
Hello,
Sheesh,
everyone.
Opsim.
First of all, how's everyone?
We're doing fine. Thank you for
Yeah, I'm
asking.
good.
It's
Oh,
nice
shoot.
that everybody's having a great day. Have you guys eaten? We don't want you to feel low when you're doing a podcast.
We
Of course I
did.
did. I had lunch earlier.
Then why the low energy? Let us show our listeners what it's like to engage on our podcast. Should we, guys?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Anyway, Michaela, long time no see. Care to tell us what today's topic would be?
Whoa, that's a rhyme.
Um, well, for today's episode, we're going to talk about how Philippine literature helps us in embracing the future and at the same time enables us to relive the past.
Really? Literature? I guess it's going to be a long
It would
podcast.
really be a long podcast, but I promise you and everyone else that it's going to be knowledgeable and fun, so you don't have to worry that much.
We also have a special guest that's going to discuss our topic today. Let us welcome Mr. Junicio, a Philippine historical specialist from Escuela de Sofia of Caloocan. He's here today with us to explain the importance of Philippine literature in the development of Filipinos' lives.
Hello, listeners! I'm glad to be part of today's podcast. Thank you, Opsim Talk, for inviting me.
It is our pleasure to have you here, sir. Anyway, our first question for today, Mr. Ginosio. Uh, why Philippine literature is still being taught today?
Hmm, that's a good question. Philippine literature is still being taught today because it is a way to show respect for our culture and history. Not only
Oh,
that, it made a big impact on our lives, especially on our beliefs. Learning these literary pieces at school and even at home, this gives us knowledge about the morals and traditions of the past.
Mm.
Wow! Thank you so much for that explanation, sir. I would personally love to know all about these, but not everyone thinks the same. So, will you please tell me and the other students how can we use this as a stepping stone to build a better future?
Absolutely. Philippine literature helps us connect ourselves to the past. Technically, these
oh,
pieces contains lessons or traditions that many of us still practice. We can reminisce or step back in time to ensure that we won't repeat the mistakes our fellow Filipinos made. If we know we have a knowledge about the past, like history, morals, and love for our country and for our fellow men, then this will give us a better life and a better place to live in.
oh, that's right.
Yes, sir, that's right. And with that said, Noli Me Tangere and El Filibusterismo are both examples of Philippine literary pieces, right? These novels were written by the famous Dr. Jose P. Rizal, the national hero of the Philippines. He wanted to tell everyone about how Filipino citizens' lives suffered because of colonialism, lack of education, and how they rebelled against the abusive officials during the Spanish colonial period.
Yeah, that's right. His objective was to show the Filipinos how great and brave our ancestors were. This write-up of Jose Rizal show us how they fought against the countries that invaded the Philippines. And speaking of which, since Spain, America, and Japan have colonized us, our literary pieces have been influenced by these three. Even so, Philippine literature already existed before the country was colonized, and it only developed further under the influence of the conquering countries.
I see.
Ooh, that's a very interesting point, sir. I did not think of it that way. And by the way, do you think in our current generation we are still embracing Philippine literature like how we used to? With every technology invented today, do you think we can still embrace every literary pieces like how we used to?
Hmm. To be honest, in this modern generation, we've been much more innovative, especially because of the ongoing pandemic. New technologies were invented, and online interaction have been more convenient. With
Yeah.
the world evolving this fast, old traditions and old cultures are being left behind. So, our current generation is having advanced, or should I say, modified literature. As you can see, we have spoken poetry. This used to be a Balagtasan before. It only means that literature is still being practiced and embraced in a more advanced and modified way.
Oh, so are you saying we must slow down a little bit when it comes to wanting to advance too much?
Well, being advanced is good, especially if it is for the betterment. However, if we want to take a step forward, we must still look back at where we started.
That's right.
Hmm. If I may add, actually, these technologies that we have can be useful. Generation C is very active when it comes to social media, right? They know every trend and every topic. So why don't we use that in our advantage?
Yeah, that's true. We can make plays, comics, or animations and post them on social media.
Ooh.
This can encourage the younger ones to read and share it. Like how the newly released TV series Maria Clara at Ibarra from GMA. I think I think it encouraged younger audiences to study the original literary piece.
Hmm, that's correct. That is a very good suggestion. Making adaptation of the different Philippine literary pieces will help us encourage the youth to embrace Philippine literature.
Well, that I agree that was a very good suggestion, but I'm
Yeah.
not sure that's not the only way, is it? With social media being around, there must be times when people and youth especially can focus on these kinds of adaptations.
If we're not talking about social media, we can be part of the education in it. Knowledge for various genres of Philippine literature is served by education. It is covered in Filipino curriculum, which is real taught nearly of all school nations, am I right?
Yeah, that's right. Apart from that, there are comics and plays which have the adaptation of these Philippine literature pieces. Though not everyone can see it, I'm sure there are few who are willing to watch these adaptation films.
Right.
Absolutely. You guys gave the best solutions that I would have never thought of. Seems like you're all willing to bring back the life of Philippine literature.
Of course we are, sir. As much as we want to be advanced, we also want to look back on our past. And I know that all of us are really interested in literary pieces.
Yes, I mean, think about it. Philippine literature is the one that gave us knowledge about what was going on in the past. Who wouldn't want to know what happened before we were born?
Actually, I don't want to know. It sounds creepy. Even the slavery part makes me sick.
Well, maybe that's because it was normalized back then.
Yeah.
I don't get why it was so normal, but maybe because we were colonized? I'm not sure.
Oh, I just remember something. Another reason why we use Philippine literature to reminisce about it so that we can relate it to the happenings in the present,
Oh,
right?
oh yeah, I did not think of it. You're right.
I know I am.
Great. That was excellent interaction for today's guys. And thanks to you, Mr. Denisha, for imparting us your knowledge to us.
You're welcome,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Hope you learned something from me today.
Yes, we did, sir. And, anyways, we must end our podcast for today and leave our dear listeners wondering about the continuation of this topic. Thank you, everyone, and this is Opsim Talks. Thank you
Thank
for
you for
listening.
Thank
listening.
you for listening.
Bye bye.
This program of the Sophian Radio is exclusively published by the Paladin Society. The views and opinions of the podcast creators don't necessarily reflect the official policies and position, views and opinions of Escuela de Sofia of Caloocan Inc., its administrators, personnel, and staff, host of program and other people of the network. Any content provided by the people on the podcast are their own opinion and not intended to malign any religion, ethnic group, club, organization, company, individual in anyone or anything. Fair use statement: this podcast may contain copyrighted materials, the use of which has not been specifically authorized by the copyright holders. All rights reserved 2022.